Hi, my name's Joanne Oates, and you're watching Speedier Reads book reviews from Faster Ideas, 12 Days of Christmas, where we talk about our favourite 12 books to buy for your creative loved ones and people in your life who want to be creative. And today we're going to be talking about Creativity Inc., which is a book, well, many of you will know, is all about the formation of Pixar. This actually was a book that I had on my bookshelf for a long time. I talked yesterday about the book that I've been wanting to buy for a long time. This one was actually gathering dust on our bookshelf before, long before I actually got around to reading it. And you know, it's not a short book, so that might have had something to do with it. And you know, yes, it is in part a book about Pixar and how Pixar was creative and all that stuff, and how they merged with Disney animations. But what was really amazing about it is not just like the fascinating story of Pixar, but also how much you learn about the creative process of Pixar and how companies like Pixar can allow creativity to thrive in the best possible way. So it's a great business book, really, as much as it is a biography about the early days of Pixar. And one of the key things I learned from reading this book is about the idea of the Pixar brain trust. Now, the brain trust, it might be something you've heard about yourself, but the brain trust is basically the concept that anyone making a film at Pixar must be prepared to be open to the truth of what they've created and be able to give and receive feedback. There's a great bit in the book where it talks about the fact that you don't have to be working at Pixar to create a brain trust. Anybody can create a sort of brain trust around them with the right mixture of people. And I think I've heard a lot of people talk recently about the idea of creating your own board, your own sort of governance board, when you're sort of a creative person or an entrepreneur, not just in work but also in life, and finding people who you are accountable to and can help you help hold you to account. Just have honest conversations about what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve, and the people who will really be honest with you and give you the feedback you need so that you can change, shift, pivot and grow. But anyway, back to Pixar. But I think when you read about how the brain trust was formed, which was, when they're making a film, it's surrounding yourself with like the right, like experienced directors, experienced lighting people, experienced animators. When you're presenting various stages of your film, the people who are giving you feedback, and it has to be constructive as well. You can't just say like, I don't like that. You can say, well, okay, that doesn't work, but what about if you try this? So that director can then go away and implement that change in a way that sort of they feel like, they've been helped in some way, not been just been criticised or critiqued. That idea is really, really important. By the end of this book, I desperately wanted to work at Pixar. What I really liked about this book and what really fascinated me about Pixar is it really sounds like somewhere where creativity thrives, and that they work really hard at making sure that happens. And there's lots of creative companies that I've worked for where creativity actually, it does exist and it does happen, but it happens kind of in spite of the culture that's been created. So I find this a really inspiring book for anyone who's thinking about being a manager or mentoring or doing anything where they have to take responsibility for somebody else's creative journey or just any else's like career. It's really inspiring to hear how things work at Pixar, and also how that evolved and where it came from, and Steve Jobs' involvement in that. And so I think, if you've got a startup, read it. It is really worth investing the time. There is also an audio book of this if you do want to read all this. But I have to say, I am so glad I took the time to read this book. It's a really fascinating bit of history in terms of also the history of animation and computer science. So yes, check it out. Really good book for as a gift as well. The hardback looks pretty special. But also invest in yourself. Buy it for yourself as well. Not so much of a good loo book, this one. I have to say, I don't think you can really dip into this. It's not really written in chunks, so you do perhaps have to sort of read this one in longer sittings. So today's book is Creativity Inc. Overcoming Unseen Forces That Stand in the Way of True Inspiration by Ed Catmull, president of Pixar Animation, Disney Animation. He actually retired in 2018, in fact, but he was a consultant for a few years later, but that doesn't make it any less of a very helpful book. Yeah, and you can buy it now on bookshop.org, Faster Ideas bookstore. Just go to the link underneath and you'll find the link to go and look at that, where you'll find all the books we're reviewing running up to Christmas. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get the reviews pinging into your feed when they go live. But also follow us, share and like us at Faster Ideas on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. That's all for today. I'll see you next time.